The collective and the true individual. Have you ever felt the surge of energy in a crowd, whether at a concert, a protest, or a simple gathering of friends, where the whole seems to pulse with a life force greater than any single person? This isn't just imagination, it's a fundamental truth. A group wields substantially more power than an individual. Yet, paradoxically, rightfully, it is the empowered individual that now earns his right to own his place and stake that collectives now have to work around in the new ways of manifestation. Our souls actually originated as part of a collective within a specific soul group emerging from a shared essence. Yet, the purpose of life is to evolve, to become more complex through individuation, transforming into unique sparks or souls that stand apart, embracing a higher order and greater chaos, rather than retreating into a collective group mind. This tension between unity and separation drives our existence, offering profound opportunities for growth if we navigate it wisely. Here, Ayn Rand's objectivism illuminates the path. It champions the sovereign individual as the prime mover of progress, rooted in objective reality and rational self-interest. Objectivism connects vitally to material reality, forming a tight, coherent paradigm much like the Oak system or organic Gnosticism. In organic Gnosticism, the individual penetrates existence through every filter and astral layer, refining and crystallizing their unique pattern until embodied life simplifies into pure reason, freeing them to authentically pursue and produce the values that sustain life and exalt human existence. This stands in stark contrast to collectivism, which subordinates the individual to the group, demanding sacrifice and altruism that stifle human potential. By distracting the individual from pursuing their self-interest or by directly asking them not to pursue it. Religious morality, with its emphasis on self-denial and faith over facts, lends only to limited human expression, binding people in chains of unearned guilt and deference to some external authority. Conversely, an excessive reliance on logic and reason, without the fuel of individual purpose, can lead to the death of creativity, turning the mind into a sterile machine devoid of the passionate pursuit of values. This is the issue. In today's modern psychology and philosophy, it has been severed from organic reality and has spiraled into the unreality of endless loops of logic and reason, limiting the individual to an intellectual devoid of connection to actuality and objective existence, leaving intellectuals adrift in unreality. Organic Gnosticism takes value in exposure and integration with polarized philosophies from Ayn Rand, Max Stirner, and Frank Wallace's Neo-Tech, atheists who formed concrete foundations for the ideal individual. Yet, it can be observed that the abstract and concrete mental planes work in a form of circuitry that requires a type of close-mindedness or a closed circuitry to fully integrate with other astral layers, or, in other words, to become fully embodied within the individual at his or her deepest core. It is this person who will achieve much more than an open-minded person. The close-minded person has no doubt about what is right and what is wrong. He or she does not hesitate to do what he or she feels is needed. In contrast, the collective mind recoils in fear, warning that such radical certainty leads to anarchy, rebellion, and unchecked chaos. Yet the opposite is true. This focused certainty channels energy productively, fostering deeper personal responsibility through a coherent set of personal values that one both lives by and respects, and further allows in all others. We become close-minded in confident certainty, not out of rigidity, but because we are doing what is best for ourselves and, by extension, advancing the entire human race. When people come together successfully, there's a multiplication of power that can be directed toward manifestation or a shared working. Group dynamics naturally foster this through a circulating current that amplifies energy, providing catalysts to support one another, sharpen focus, or shatter blockages. Think of those who seek connection, healing, or empowerment in everyday collectives, individuals attending AA meetings to battle addiction through shared accountability, support groups where genuine connection mends emotional wounds, or a local running club where collective motivation and competition builds physical and mental resilience. These examples illustrate how groups create a synergistic flow, turning individual efforts into something exponentially greater. Yet, objectivism warns that such collectives must serve the rational interests of individuals, not demand their subjugation. True value producers whom don't separate thinking from doing. Individual thinkers like the Founding Fathers, who forged a nation on principles of liberty and rights, inventors who harness reason to create wealth and innovation, and authentic adepts, who preserve the valid Western and Eastern traditions through personal insight, embody this ideal. They rise as sovereign creators, producing objective values that benefit society without surrendering their autonomy. This principle echoes in the rational framework of human achievement, highlighting the interconnected web of life through voluntary cooperation rather than coerced unity. But true integration demands embracing the duality between the individual and the collectivist body, resonating with the ego of individuality to achieve balance. With the individual at the core, consciousness awakens to the universe's nature. From the tiniest particle to the grandest formation, everything is linked by an energetic circuitry, unifying all that is, was, or will be through evolution and a greater growing complexity. The purpose of the collective is always in perfect harmony with the individual's dream, and here consciousness awakens to the universe's photoelectric nature. From the tiniest particle to the grandest formation, everything is linked by electric circuitry, unifying all that is, was, or will be. This rhythmic pulsation, expansion and retraction, the dance of electric currents and light fields known as electromagnetism, defines creation itself. It births stars, animates the human body and mind, shapes weather patterns, and encompasses the totality of existence. Our body sends electrical impulses in constant communication between systems, mirroring this cosmic network. But it is the individual's internal authority that directs this energy toward purposeful ends. This principle echoes in the stars, particularly through the astrological constellation of Aquarius, symbolized by the urn or pitcher. Aquarius governs collectives, groups, systems, economies, electricity, and the nervous system, highlighting the interconnected web of life. But true integration of any sign demands embracing its duality, resonating with its opposite to achieve balance. For Aquarius, this means harmonizing with Leo, the sign of individual heart-centered radiance and the ego of individuality. Aquarius appears hollow or empty compared to Leo's centralized fire. There's no single core. Consciousness becomes a circle whose center is nowhere and circumference everywhere. It is through stress that awareness is pushed out from old containers and systems and into new fields through quantum leaps. It is Uranus, with its veil of eccentric firings of electric energy, forming to the creations of entire new systems without a traceable foundation. This is the death of logic and reason, and expanding our paradigm through this lens reveals the true point of unity, the spiritual light embodied by hydrogen, but interpreted through objectivism as the fundamental essence of existence that individuals grasp and harness. In the Oak system, hydrogen, aligned with Bina in Kabbalah, represents the photon state that lies beyond the great abyss, bridging and connecting all things in the universe. We are all divine sparks of light, beginning our journey as photons. Every element in reality holds a distinct awareness and form of consciousness, evolving through chaos theory into higher stability via cycles of decay, death, and rebirth. Energy cannot be destroyed, only transferred. We radiated outward in a burst of radiant light, expanding until we could go no further, then began collapsing inwardly toward the source as a burst of electrical energy. This marks the first duality, male outward expansion and female inward retraction, setting the stage for all polarities and the foundation of our future astral adventures through the initiation into the astral planes with its circuitry. Take time to reflect on the groups and systems we participate in, those we choose and those we're born into without consent. Collectives surround us: families, schools, nations, workplaces, marketing campaigns, sports, businesses, political agendas, and social movements continually draw in energy to manifest the ideals of those steering them. This is the old way of creation, relying on collective energy to bring visions into reality. Now consider more structured groups like college sororities, fraternities, or even gangs. Upon entry, initiates often face hazing or trials, tasks that strip them of personal power, binding them to the group's will. Yet as they integrate and new members arrive, they ascend the dominance hierarchy, regaining a form of power. In most collective systems, especially tightly closed ones, vitality flows into the circle upon entry, leading to an initial loss. Through dedication and circulation, the energy completes its loop and returns, empowered. It's the timeless adage, what goes around comes around, whether for good or ill. However, objectivism exposes the moral inversion here. Collectivism, whether in neo-politics or the neo-cheaters' manipulative schemes, aligns with false mystics who pervert egoism into a license for exploitation. These modern collectivists demand the unearned, eroding individual rights under guises of common good, while true individualism fosters value production without force. This dynamic finds its highest sacred expression in the brotherhoods and sisterhoods of Western and Eastern mystery traditions, or perhaps in seeking a guru or grandmaster. These paths center on key individuals who've attained cosmic or Christ consciousness through union with Godhood and achieved true wisdom. Such beings establish mystery schools, imprinting the spiritual light and bringing fire down from heaven, much like Prometheus gifting humanity divine flame. This allows initiates to tap into the fire of their own spiritual grace, further developing through higher grades toward the development of their soul. However, not all collectives are benevolent, as some of the specific examples that we have shared, and some are vampiric in nature. Pyramid schemes have long plagued society, where those at the top maintain false power by enslaving those at the bottom to fuel the system. This exemplifies the old ways of exploitation. We must be more wary and conscious than ever of the groups we enter and the currents we place ourselves within, as energetic vampirism grows desperate in turbulent times, where one claims an authority either directly or indirectly, in a sly fashion over other members. We give external authority the power that it holds over us. External authorities would become powerless if the average person simply said no to them. Ultimately, we are born bound to collectives and a collective will. Taxes, imposed laws, regulations, culture, and norms shaping our lives. More crucially, we cannot separate from the collective of humanity without devolving into something animalistic or far worse. Yet, we can expand our collective to encompass all life, including animals, plants, all elements, and all things in our world. We achieve this by recognizing our individual spark as our true divinity and ultimate power. It individuates us, setting us apart, while simultaneously unifying us with all matter and space in the universe. By weaving the threads of group synergy, cosmic networks, divine unity, and conscious choice, we transcend limitations. Expand upon this in your own life, questioning the collectives you engage with. Ensure they circulate energy fairly, and always safeguard your individuated spark. How might embracing this balance transform your path? Live with intention, channel the current wisely, and let your divine light illuminate the collective whole.